Hello and welcome to a new tutorial. In this tutorial we are going to see how can we implement hyperlinks inside our API in order to improve the API response and avoid sending unnecessary data to the API client. So in order to demonstrate that, I'm going to create a new application inside our Django REST Framework API project, and I'm gonna call it snippet. So before, make sure you activate your virtual environment by simply typing dot space / and then we go to the virtual environment folder, which is /env / and then scripts, then activate. Okay, so I already activated the virtual environment, and that's why you see the vm here, so you can go ahead and activate yours if you're following along. After that, we need to create a new application, and to do that we can simply type python manage.py start app, and I'm gonna name it snippets. Okay, what we're gonna do in this application is create a snippet model. We're gonna go to models.py inside snippet application. Let's create a symbol model here and name it snippets. So we type class snippets, and this is going to take models dot model, and inside here I'm going to just paste the fields that we need to add to this model, just to save some time. So we're going to use title and code, and then the language of the code, or the programming language of the code. And I created just to control the order of the response from our API. So basically this is the model that we need, and I'm just going to add some metadata here, class meta, and then inside here I just want to do the ordering, and let's use created for that. The created field for ordering, and I'm going to save this. So now we need, the next step is to, let's add this to the admin panel. So I'm going to go to the admin.py file. I'm going to import the model from .models, import snippets, and then down here I'm just going to add it to the admin panel, admin.site.register, and then add the snippet. Okay, and save it. And after that I need to go to the main project folder and to the settings.py and add the snippets application to the installed apps. So I'm going to type here snippets, so our project can recognize the new app that we created. So I think now we good to go. We can just run the migration. So I'm going to do that now. So I'm going to simply say python manage.py make migrations, and it's giving me an error, says cannot import snippets from snippets.models. So okay, I misspelled it here, so let's save, run the migrations again, So now that the migrations have been created, we need to migrate to generate the database for this particular application. Okay, and with that being done, now we can run the server and see if we can add some codes or snippets through our admin panel or our project admin panel. So I'm gonna run the server. And now let me just go to the admin panel and try to add some data. So I'm going to go to the browser and navigate to the admin panel, log in. And as you see here, if we look down, we have snippets here in our application. So if we go to snippets, we add snippet, and let's give it a title, for example, run server. Okay, and then the code will be, let's use one of the codes that we use all the time. So Python manage.py run server. Okay, this is the snippets, and the language is Python. Okay, and let's save this. Let's add another snippet. Let's name it make migrations, and then the code will be Python manage.py make migrations. Okay, the language is Python as well. And then we save it. Let's add one more, name it migrate. Okay, and then the code is Python manage.py migrate, and then the language is Python, and then save it. Now we have 3 objects inside our application that we can work with. Okay, the next step is to add a serializer for our application. So I'm going to head back to the code, and I'm going to create inside snippets a new file and name it serializer.py or serializers. Okay, inside here I'm going to import first the serializer. So from REST framework, import serializers, and also I'm going to import the model snippets. So from .models import snippets. Okay, and in this tutorial we're going to do something different. So in this tutorial we are going to use the generic views. Normally we use the API views or the view set. So in this tutorial I decided let's do something different and use generic views. So for that I'm going to create 2 serializers, one the detail serializer and the other one for the snippet list serializer. So let's do that. So first one will be class snippets detail serializer, and this is gonna use serializers.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
And this is gonna use serializers dot model serializer, and we will specify the class meta here, which will include the model, which is snippet, and the field, and we can specify the fields here. So Let's add the ID, because this is a detail serializer. So we'll add everything: ID, title, and language, plus we'll add the code. Let's add the code before the language, just to keep the same sequence. Okay, let's compare it to the model and see. So we have the title, code, language. Okay, that's enough. And then we'll add the next serializer, which is class snippet. Snippet list serializer, and this will inherit from the serializers dot model serializer. And for the list, we don't need to add all the fields, and this is the point behind using hyperlinks. So I'm just going to specify the model here equal snippet, and then the fields, which is going to be, for example, the title. I'm just going to add, I think, the title only. Okay, for now. So when we get to the list of the snippets or objects that we have in our database, we get their titles only. And then after that, we're going to see how to use hyperlink to get a link within the response that will give us an access to the detail of that object or particular snippet. So let's save this for now and go to the views.py. And here we're going to create the generic views that will serve the requests that comes to our API. So we're going to delete this line. First, let's import the model. So from .models, import snippets. And then, as we said, we're going to use the generic views. So let's import that as well. So from REST framework generics import, we're gonna need the list API view and create API view for now. And let's import the serializer. So from .serializers import, we're gonna need the snippet detail serializer and snippets list serializers. After that, we create the classes. So let's start by the snippet list view. So we just gonna say class, name it snippet list view, and this is gonna take the list API view, and we can simply type query set equals snippets, which is the model name, dot objects dot all, and then we specify the serializer class for that, which is the snippets list serializer. Sorry, you need to add equals here. So after that, we add the class snippet detail view, and it's going to inherit from okay, here we don't need the create API view because we're not going to use it for now. We need the retrieve API view for the details. So I'm going to add here retrieve API view, and same thing, we'll have query set which is equals snippets dot object dot all, and then we also specify the serializer class, which is snippets detail serializer this time. Okay, so that should be enough. We save it. Let me delete this for now and save it. And now it's time to add the urls.py and configure our endpoints for this application. So I'm going to get a new file, name it urls.py, and inside here I'm just going to import the path. So from Django .urls import path, and then I'm going path, and I'm going to import the views as well. So from dot views import snippet detail view and snippets less view. After that we can add the URL patterns. So we type URL patterns, or let's type it again, URL patterns equals list, and then we can add first the snippets. So we'll open two parentheses, and this will be snippets, and then comma, we add the view, which is snippets less view dot as view, and then we give it a name, which is let's name it snippet list. Okay, so snippet dash list. The other URL we can add is the details URL. So we can type for example snippet dash detail, and then we add the view for that, which is snippets detail view dot as view, and then we give it a name, which is snippet detail. Okay, so let's type it dash detail. Okay, and this should do it. So if I save this and then I'm just rerun the server here, make sure everything is okay and no errors. Okay, so now I need to add this application to the main project URLs file. So I'm going to add a path for it here. So let's name it for example snip as a start. Okay, you can name it whatever you want, and then we include the urls.py file for the application, for the snippet application. So we'll just say snippet okay, small letters dot urls. Okay, don't forget the quotations, single quotation here, and that should do it. So our URL for this should look like snip slash snippets to get all the snippets, or snip slash snippet detail to get the details. So if I go back to the URLs here, I need to add something here, which is the ID or parameter, which is int pk, and that refers to the, because this is for the details snippet, so that refers to the ID of the object. So we can leave it this way, or we can name this snippets as well, so you can try whatever you want. Okay, I think that should do it. Let's save, and now I'm going to use the Postman to test this. So I'm going to open the Postman now. Inside here I'm going to add snip as the entry for the application, then snippets, and perform a GET request. So it's telling me here page not found. I forgot to add a /. Okay. Perform a GET request to the snip and snippets /snippets. We get the list of the snippets which represented by title only. And if I wanted to get the details for the first one, for example, I can just perform a GET request to the first one, and I get all the details about this first snippet or second snippet, and the third one is the same thing. So now what we need to do is, inside each object of these snippets, we're gonna add a hyperlink where I can click on it or perform a GET request to it to get the details of the related object. Okay, so let's do that. So in order to send a hyperlink in our response from the API, we need to use something called hyperlinked identity field inside our serializer. And to achieve that, we need to give our URLs inside the name, or inside the main project folder urls.py. We need to give our application URL a namespace. But if I add simply a namespace here, for example, and I give it the name snip, okay, and save, I'm going to get an error saying that unexpected keyword argument namespace. And to do this correctly, I need to add a tuple of the urls.py directory plus the model name inside include. So I'm going to do this here now. I'm going to add the model name, which is snippets, and then close the parentheses, add comma, and then that all will be inside the include. Okay, so I'm going to close the brackets here, all the parentheses, and then save. Now it shouldn't give me an error, and I can use this namespace snip to configure the hyperlinked identity field. So now I can go back to the serializer, and inside here I'm going to add a field. Let's name it for example snippet details. Okay, snippet details, okay, equals, and then I'm going to use serializers dot hyperlinked identity field, and then inside here I'm going to specify the view name by referring to the name of the URL that's linked to that view. In other words, I can say view name, view name equals, and I will add the namespace of the root URL, which is this snip, like that, and then I'll add the name of the detail URL, okay, which uses the snippet detail view. So I'm just gonna add this here, and then after that I need to add this field to the fields list. So I'm gonna add snippet detail or details, and then save it. Okay, so now if I perform a GET request to the snippet URL, I'm supposed to get the title plus a URL that will help me get the details of this specific object. So let's go back to the Postman, and then I'll perform another GET request. And as you see, I get the title, which is run server. I get snippet details with the link. And if I click on this link, it's supposed to give me the details. And as you see, this specific object, which is run server, the code. Okay. So if I go back to snippets, and I see also for the second one, which is make migration, I get the details. I can also perform a GET request to that, and then I see the details. We could see this better in the browser, so I'm going to try it in the browser. If I go here and I perform a GET request, I'll get all the snippets here, and this is the link for the first one. If I click on it, I get the details. If I go back to snippet list, I get back all the list, and same for each one. So as you see, we solved here one problem, which is receiving unnecessary data. Maybe you're building an app, which is when you request, for example, a collection of items, you only need the title of the item and few details, okay, like you don't need the whole details. But when yet the user clicks on the item, then you need to view the full details. This helps you with that. So this will bring you the information that you want at the beginning, and then once the user clicks on that item, you can get the rest of the details using the detail link. So that's it, guys, for this tutorial. Hope you learned something new, and if so, please hit the like button. That helps the channel. And if you're looking forward for more content like this, please subscribe and hit the notification bell to get notified whenever I upload a new video. And until the next one.